Hello everyone, and welcome back to Learn English with Deja. It's wonderful to connect with you again today. I hope you're settled in, perhaps with your favorite drink, ready for a relaxed, thoughtful conversation. Because today we're exploring a topic that's deeply human and incredibly relevant for anyone navigating life in a new language or a new place. We're going to talk about making friends. Why is making friends useful for English? Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Deja, friendship is important, but how does this fit into learning English? Well, I truly believe it's one of the most powerful and often overlooked tools in your language learning toolbox. Think about it. Making real connections forces you out of the textbook and into the real world. It pushes you to use your English in spontaneous, authentic ways. It's not just about vocabulary lists or grammar rules anymore. It's about understanding humor, expressing empathy, sharing stories, navigating the beautiful messiness of real human interaction. What will this episode cover? So in this episode, we're not just talking about the how-to of finding friends. We're diving deeper. We'll explore the emotional side of putting yourself out there, the vulnerability involved. We'll share more detailed ideas on where connection might spark naturally. We'll discuss specific ways to initiate and continue conversations without feeling overly awkward. And crucially, we'll talk about the mindset needed to navigate this journey. The goal? To help you feel more confident, not just in your English, but in your ability to build meaningful relationships wherever you are. This is pure listening practice, packed with real expressions and hopefully some genuine encouragement. Just a conversation, friend to friend. Is it hard to make friends as an adult? Let's start by acknowledging something important. Making friends as an adult, especially in a new city or country, or when you feel your language skills aren't perfect, it can feel genuinely challenging, maybe even intimidating. That's a good word, intimidating. It means something makes you feel nervous or frightened because it seems difficult or powerful. You might feel shy, worrying about finding the right words, or maybe feeling self-conscious about your accent. What worries stop us from connecting? Perhaps you have thoughts like, what if I misunderstand them? Or what if they misunderstand me? What if I accidentally say something culturally inappropriate? What if they think I'm boring? These inner voices can be loud sometimes, can't they? It's like standing at the edge of a party, wanting to join the laughter but feeling glued to the spot. Please know, these feelings are incredibly common. They are not a sign of weakness or that there's something wrong with you. It's just part of the human experience of navigating the unfamiliar. My own experience with loneliness. I remember very clearly years ago, moving to a new town for work. I knew absolutely no one, and those first few weeks, they were tinged with a specific kind of loneliness. It wasn't just about being alone, it was about feeling disconnected. I'd walk through busy streets, see cafes full of people chatting, parks alive with groups of friends, and feel like I was watching a movie I wasn't part of. It's a strange mix, isn't it? The excitement of a new beginning mingled with the quiet ache of wanting connection. Acknowledging this feeling, understanding it's normal. That's the first essential step towards overcoming it. It allows you to be kinder to yourself. Where can you actually meet people? So accepting the challenge, where do we actually go from there? Where can these connections realistically begin? As we touched on before, shared interests are like gold mines for finding potential friends. Why? Because they provide an immediate, natural topic of conversation. The pressure is lower because you're not just relying on small talk, you're engaging with something you both care about. Let's explore this a bit more deeply. Try creative classes and workshops. Think about activities you genuinely enjoy or perhaps something new you've always wanted to try. If you love being creative, what about a pottery class, a painting workshop, or even a community theater group? Imagine yourself in a pottery class. You're both focused on the clay. Maybe you accidentally splash some water on the person next to you. Boom, instant conversation starter. "Oh gosh, I'm so sorry," leads to laughter, which leads to chatting about how difficult it is to center the clay, which might lead to asking how long they've been doing pottery. See how it flows naturally from the shared activity? Consider outdoors and fitness groups. What about if you're more outdoorsy? Joining a hiking group or a local running club can be fantastic. You're sharing the physical challenge, commenting on the beautiful scenery, maybe motivating each other up a steep hill. The conversation often happens in bursts between breaths, which feels less intense than sitting face to face, trying to think of things to say. Plus, you're getting exercise and exploring your new surroundings. Even volunteering at a local park cleanup event connects you with nature lovers. What about book clubs? Book clubs, as I mentioned, are wonderful too. You gather to discuss a shared experience, reading the same story. Imagine the English practice there. You're expressing opinions, agreeing, disagreeing politely. That's an interesting point, but I saw it a little differently. Analyzing characters, predicting outcomes. It's rich language use in a focused context. Look for clubs in libraries, local cafes, or even specialized ones online that might have local chapters. Use learning environments to connect. Don't underestimate the power of learning itself. Taking any kind of class, maybe a language class for a different language, a cooking course, a photography workshop, learning a musical instrument, puts you in a room with fellow learners. You automatically have something in common, the desire to learn that specific skill. You can share tips, frustrations, celebrate small victories together. How are you finding this grammar rule? Or, wow, your sauce smells incredible. These are easy entry points. How to connect at work or study. Work and study environments are obvious contenders, of course. Your colleagues, your classmates, you spend a significant amount of time with them. The key here is often transitioning from work talk or study talk to slightly more personal connection, suggesting a coffee break together, joining a casual Friday after work drink if that's common in your workplace culture, or participating in team building activities. These small steps can bridge the gap. Remember, friendships often start as acquaintances. Is volunteering a good way to meet people? And let's not forget volunteering, finding a cause you're passionate about. Animal shelters, community kitchens, environmental groups, mentoring programs. It connects you with people who share your core values. This can lead to very deep connections because you're united by something meaningful beyond just a casual hobby. Plus, the act of helping others often makes us feel good and more open. The focus is outward, on the task at hand, which again lowers the social pressure. How do I start the conversation? Be simple. Okay, so you've bravely put yourself in one of these situations. You're at the hiking group meetup point Or you've sat down in your pottery class. Now what? How do you actually initiate that first conversation without feeling terribly awkward? Remember, simple is often best. A warm smile and a simple hello or hi is fundamental. It signals openness. Don't underestimate the power of positive, open body language too. Try not to cross your arms tightly. Make gentle eye contact. Depending on cultural norms, of course. Just generally look approachable. Use your surroundings to start talking. Then comment on the shared context. This is your safest bet. Waiting for the hiking leader? Looks like a great day for a hike, doesn't it? Or, is this your first time with this group? In the pottery class? Wow, look at all this equipment. Have you done pottery before? Waiting in line for coffee at work. This week feels long already. How about you? These are gentle openers. They invite a response but don't demand a long, elaborate answer immediately. Why are open-ended questions better? Asking open-ended questions is crucial for keeping the conversation going beyond a simple yes or no. Let's compare. Closed question, do you like hiking? Answer, yes. End of conversation potentially. Open-ended question, what do you enjoy most about hiking? Answer, oh, I love being out in nature, the quiet and the feeling of accomplishment when you reach the summit. See? This invites a much richer response and gives you more material to follow up on. Examples of good open-ended questions, other examples. Instead of, are you new here? Try, what brought you to this city, our class, event? Instead of, is the book interesting? Try, what are your thoughts on the main character so far? Think about questions starting with what, how, why, or phrases like tell me about. These encourage sharing. Why is active listening so important? And now, perhaps the most important skill in conversation, listening, active listening. This means truly paying attention to what the other person is saying, not just waiting for your turn to speak. Show you're engaged. Nod. Make affirming sounds like, uh-huh. Oh, interesting. Really. Ask follow-up questions based directly on what they just said. For example, if they mention they love hiking because they enjoy nature photography, you could ask, oh, fantastic. What kind of camera do you use? Or, are there any particular spots around here you'd recommend for photos? This shows you were listening carefully and are genuinely interested. People love to feel heard. How does finding common ground help? Finding common ground makes conversation flow beautifully. As you listen, keep an ear out for shared experiences, interests, or even opinions. Maybe you both find the same grammar point confusing. Maybe you both love spicy food. Maybe you both recently watched the same popular TV show. When you find that connection, mention it. Oh, you like that show too? What did you think of the last episode? Or, me too. I find verb tenses really challenging sometimes. This builds rapport, that feeling of connection and understanding. Should I share about myself too? And don't be afraid to share a little bit about yourself too. It shouldn't be a one-way interrogation. Answering their questions honestly, volunteering small pieces of information about your own experiences or interests. This builds trust. It shows you're willing to be open too. Of course, start small. You don't need to share your deepest secrets in the first chat. But simple things like, I moved here for my studies too, or I'm trying to explore more local cafes on weekends, makes the interaction feel more balanced and human. Authenticity is key. Trying to be someone you're not is exhausting and usually doesn't lead to real connections. What's the right mindset for making friends? Now let's circle back to mindset because it underpins everything. Stepping outside your comfort zone is, well, uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. Think of it like stretching a muscle you haven't used in a while. It might feel a bit strained at first, but gradually it becomes more flexible. Each small social risk you take, saying hello first, asking that open-ended question, joining that group, stretches your social muscle. It gets easier with practice. Accept the potential for awkwardness. Honestly, awkward moments happen to everyone, in every language. Sometimes they're even funny later. Is it okay to make mistakes in English? Yes. Crucially, please give yourself permission to make English mistakes. Perfection is the enemy of progress here. Your goal is connection and communication, not flawless grammar recitation. Most people will be focused on what you're trying to say, not how perfectly you're saying it. In fact, sometimes a small language hiccup can even be endearing or break the ice. If someone corrects you gently, try to see it as a learning opportunity, not a criticism. And if they're unkind about it, well, they probably weren't going to be a great friend anyway. Focus on the kind and patient people. They are out there. Should I be interesting or interested? Adopt an attitude of curiosity. Instead of worrying about being interesting, focus on being interested. People are fascinating. Everyone has a story, unique experiences, different perspectives. Approach interactions with a genuine desire to learn about the other person. This shifts the focus away from your own anxieties and makes the whole process more enjoyable. What if a conversation doesn't lead to friendship? Understand, too, that not every interaction will blossom into a deep friendship. Sometimes you'll have a pleasant chat with someone, and that's all it will be. Maybe your personalities don't quite mesh. Maybe they're just busy in their own lives. It's usually not personal. Think of it like fishing. You cast your line out many times. Sometimes you get a nibble, sometimes you catch a fish, sometimes nothing happens. Don't get discouraged if a few conversations don't lead anywhere. Resilience is important. Just appreciate the interaction for what it was. Perhaps some good English practice. And be ready for the next opportunity. What about cultural differences? Being mindful of cultural nuances can also be helpful, though don't overthink it. Things like personal space, level of directness in conversation, topics considered appropriate for small talk, these can vary. The best approach is usually to observe how locals interact with each other, be generally polite and respectful, and be prepared to adjust slightly. Most people understand that communication involves navigating differences, especially in international contexts. A little awareness goes a long way, but being your genuine friendly self is usually the most important thing. How does listening improve my English? And let's re-emphasize the power of listening, not just for making the other person feel good, but for your English. When you actively listen, you're absorbing vocabulary and context, picking up on natural sentence structures, hearing different accents and intonation patterns. It's incredibly valuable passive learning that complements your active speaking practice. So, embrace being a great listener. It serves both goals, building connections and boosting your English skills. How do I turn acquaintances into friends? Okay, so you've had a nice initial chat. You found some common ground. You feel a potential spark of connection. What next? How do you move from pleasant acquaintance towards potential friend? This often requires taking a bit of initiative. Waiting for the other person to always make the next move might mean the connection fizzles out. It shows you're interested in continuing the relationship. How can I suggest meeting again? If you genuinely enjoyed the conversation, say so. Something simple like, "It was really nice chatting with you today." Then, if it feels right, suggest a low-pressure follow-up. "Maybe we could grab that coffee sometime next week." Or referring back to your common interest, "I saw that band we both like is playing locally next month. Have you thought about going?" Or even, "I'm planning to try that new cafe we talked about this weekend. Would you be free to join?" Keeping it casual and specific makes it easier for the other person to say yes. What about exchanging contact info? Exchanging contact information is a natural next step if the vibe feels right. A simple, "Would it be okay if we exchange numbers?" on social media. Be prepared for them to possibly decline. Again, don't take it personally. But often people are happy to connect further if they've enjoyed the interaction too. Then the crucial part, actually follow up within a reasonable time frame, maybe a few days later, with a quick message referencing your conversation or firming up those casual plans. What does nurturing friendship require? Remember that building friendships takes time and consistency. It's not usually a one-conversation event. It involves repeated interactions, gradually sharing more, showing up for each other. Check in occasionally, even just with a quick message like, "Hope you had a good week." Be willing to be vulnerable over time, sharing more of your real self. And importantly, remember reciprocity. Friendship is a two-way street. Be interested in their lives, remember details they share, offer support when needed, celebrate their successes. Be the kind of friend you'd like to have. Do all friendships need to be deep? Also, recognize that friendships can exist on different levels. You might have activity partners, people you enjoy hiking with, but don't necessarily share deep secrets with. You might have casual friends you see occasionally for coffee, and you might develop closer friendships that involve deeper trust and support. All these types of connections add richness to life. Don't feel like every potential friend needs to become your absolute best friend. Final thoughts, challenges, and opportunities. So let's bring this long chat to a close. Making friends, especially when juggling language learning and maybe a new culture. Yes, it has its hurdles. There will likely be moments of self-doubt, times you feel shy or awkward, maybe even a few conversations that fall flat. But I sincerely hope you also see the incredible opportunity here. The potential for enriching your life with new relationships, diverse perspectives, and shared experiences is immense. Final encouragement: be brave and kind. And from a language learning perspective, it's invaluable. Each real conversation pushes you, expands your vocabulary in ways a textbook can't, fine-tunes your listening comprehension for different voices and styles, and builds that hard-earned speaking confidence step by step. It's immersion in its most meaningful form, immersion in connection. Be brave enough to start. Be curious about people. Be kind to yourself throughout the process. Celebrate the small victories, the successful chat, the shared laugh, the number exchanged. Thank you truly for spending this time with me today on Learn English with Deja. I hope this extended conversation felt like a supportive chat, offering both practical ideas and, perhaps more importantly, some real encouragement. Making friends is a journey, and you are absolutely capable of navigating it while making fantastic progress with your English. What are your biggest challenges or successes in this area? Please share your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely love hearing from you all. If this episode resonated with you, a thumbs up is always appreciated, and subscribing ensures you won't miss our future chats. Keep learning, keep connecting, be well, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next episode. Bye for now.